Interaction in general involves that influence of one level of processing on the operation of another, but there are two intertwined notions involved. First, there is the question of overlap of processing between stages. Are the processing stages temporarily discrete or do they overlap? In the discrete model, a level of processing can only begin its work when the previous one has finished its own work. The second aspect of interaction is whether there is a reverse flow of information or feedback. When information from a lower level feedback to the prior level, for example, does knowledge about what a word might be influence the recognition of its component sounds of letters. A natural waterfall is purely top-down. Water doesn't flow from the bottom back up to the top. But suppose we introduce a pump. Next, what can studies of brain damage and language tell us? Cognitive neuropsychology is another recent development that has led to advance in our understanding of psycholinguistics. Traditional neurology and neuropsychology have been concerned primarily with questions about which part of the brain control different sorts of behavior, or that is, with the localization of function, and with working out how complex behaviors map onto the flow of information through brain structures. In one of the best known traditional neuropsychological models of language, the Wernicke-Kruskal model, language processes basically flow from the back of the left hemisphere to the front, with high-level planning and semantic processes toward the rear, and how-level sound retrieval and articulation toward the front. The emphasis of cognitive neuropsychology is rather different. The goal is to relate brain damage behavior to models of normal processing. For example, research and on aphasia, the name of any impairment of language, including a defect or loss of production or receptive aspect of written or spoken language as a result of brain damage, has greatly furthered our understanding of all aspects of language processing. Summaries. Language is a communication system that enables us to talk about everything and anything irrespective of time and space. Little is known about how language evolved, although it must have conferred an evolutionary advantage on early humans. Psycholinguistics arose after the Second World War as a result of interaction between the disciplines of information theory and linguistics, and as a reaction against behaviorism. Modern psycholinguistics use a number of approaches, including experiments, computer simulation, linguistic analysis, and neuropsychology. Early artificial intelligence or AI approaches to language such as ELIZA and SHRDLU gave the impression of comprehending language, but had no real understanding of language and were limited to specific domains. Later, AI model of processing syntax used Augmented Translation Network or ATNS, but it is unlikely that the human parser used the same mechanism. Language processes can be uh, broken down into a number of levels of processing. Psychologists are divided about the extent to which the mind can be divided into discrete modules. An important question, particularly for the study of how we acquire language is the extent to which language is innate. Whereas traditional approaches based on linguistics state that much of our knowledge of language is encoded in terms of explicit rules. More recent approaches based on the connections modeling state that our knowledge arises from the statistical properties of language. Double dissociation are important in the neuropsychological study of language.